Aron,
problem.
very warm welcome.
Thank you very much.
We are having our first Aron and Sebastian show.
Yes.
I think that's the name I would give to the show.
Working title.
The working title, yeah. So we don't know where it leads us tonight, but Aron was so kind to bring some of his jams because you don't know him from the world of perfumery yet. We are going to change this hopefully in the near future. But Aron is a big fan of fragrance materials, specifically naturals. He has like a vast selection of products sitting at his home. And as you all know, I'm working on a big innovation in the fragrance field, specifically focusing on creating the first independent perfumery publishing house. But the main problem is that my nose is very bad. So Aron is doing me a favor with his knowledge and with his products that he tries to up my olfaction game. And that's the reason why we are also here tonight. And Aron, thanks again for spending your, which day is it?
It's
Thursday evening with us.
Sure.
So we don't have a script, so that's the reason why we're, I guess, directly jumping into it.
Yeah.
What do you have in mind?
So, yes. So, I prepared a little something, and I brought some aroma chemicals and also some natural materials with me. And I would like to start with a little guessing game.
All right.
So I brought.
You're prepared.
Three. Yes, I brought three.
Oh wow!
Let me do this.
Oh wow! I thought that everything is already sitting on a table. It's not. Okay, it's not. Okay.
Okay.
Do I need to blindfold myself?
No.
Okay.
You don't have to smell. You just have to take a guess. Okay.
Take a guess. Okay.
Yeah. So
what you have brought with you? Or
yes. No. I mean, so I have three items that I brought with me, and they all have to do with, they all have something to do with the material that we are going to discuss today.
Okay.
So
interesting.
And I wonder if you can maybe find it out. So maybe we start with this. You don't. It's maybe.
I'm German. I know what it is. I always have it in my Gemüsedöner.
Right.
Okay.
So
it's a potato.
Potato.
It's
exactly.
a potato. Yeah.
So
it exists in every culture.
I don't know if there's any perfume note yet for potato smell.
I can already share a story if you like.
Sure.
So there is a perfumer with whom I met a couple of times, and he was asked by a German television show or broadcaster more in general if for a documentary he could do a potato accord. And when I smelled the accord, it actually smelled like this earthy, like potato combined with the earth that is around. So it's very.
You can take a sniff. It's like this.
I mean, yeah. So very mineral, also like bitter. It's a little bit bitter mineral, but it also had some of the when you peel a potato, you have this. It's difficult to describe, but you have this kind of like this sparkling effect that comes with it. So it's a little bit like aldehydes.
Yep.
I would say. I saw.
Not sure if there are actually aldehydes in there, but the sparkling effect would be but it's not. It didn't make into. It didn't make.
No. It was just It was just the accord that he was doing for the television show.
Okay. So it's not. We're not talking about potato oil or something or absolute yet.
Right.
But let me add another item.
Okay. Wow.
So it's Listerine. It's mouthwash basically.
Yeah, I know, like use it every morning.
Perfect.
Okay, so
potato
is it now on me to make the combination between? Really?
You can try. Maybe you already know.
Yeah, both is something you put in your mouth. Okay, but you mean like smell wise?
Yes, maybe let's open it. It's actually just before
you're so
the
prepared.
recording. Yeah, because I wanted to have a little riddle at the beginning. How do I open
Right.
it? It's like a child protection. I don't know.
We won't crack it tonight.
Okay, yeah. There you go. Okay, take a smell.
I'll describe it. It's like you definitely get the alcohol that it's inside, because I think it's like at 70 or 80, like it's quite high.
Yeah.
But I know this, like the blue one is very mild, so you don't have this like alcohol punch. I get like this chewing gum without the sweetness. It's like a little. It feels like dry sugar, as I like. It's a and it has this kind of like I would say like this kind of like artificial flavor smell.
Yeah. Maybe that's due to the fact that it's that there's stuff in there that is used for artificial products, maybe. But and what would you say? Like, does it remind you of anything? Like, like besides Listerine or mouthwash, for example? I mean, it's really difficult to separate.
Yeah, of course.
Your
so that's the reason why we're doing the training tonight, because when he asked the question like this, it should remind me of something. I mean, so it smells like a little bit of like a certain kind of apple.
Okay.
Those apple rings those green apple rings with a lot of sugar and this kind of marshmallow thingy around. But it also has this kind of like earthy flavor, a little mineral, Like, but maybe this I'm primed because I've smelled on a potato before.
No, but that's already pretty good. Yeah, to be honest, to me it reminds me of another artificial product, and to me actually it reminds me of the US for some reason, for a very specific reason, because in the US a lot of things are flavored like this. I think, for example, Lifesavers. I don't know if you know them. It's like little rings, or there is a chewing gum that tastes like this or something like this.
Now, as you say it, like it could remind me of. Like, I didn't want to say it because it's very far away, but when I was younger, I had sometimes a bottle or a can of Dr. Pepper Coke, and I think this kind of like this sugary thing in the background could that's something I had in mind when you're now saying US.
To me, this is like really USA smell. I don't know why. Maybe I think I smelled at first these smells in like a CVS or is it called like this in the United States, where and to me this always reminds me of US. I don't know why.
Wow.
Like bubblegum and this smell. Yeah. Okay.
But do you? Okay.
No.
But you have a direct connection between Listerine or is it more about the chemical? All right. Okay, I'm curious.
Okay.
I don't know where to go from.
Last hint, but it's really difficult.
Okay.
So it's maybe someone can see it. It's agave. How's it in English?
Like just juice. It's very funny because like it's probably restricted for younger listener, but there are a lot of people who joke about the second name from the US, so we can't say it, unfortunately, because probably we'll have some US listeners. But it's
agave syrup.
Syrup is it? Okay, we will put the germ name in the captions. Okay.
So it's really hard, I know, but I just want to put it out there and see if you can maybe. But no, you will know now after this. But
but tell me, what is the task? The task is to find commonalities and find and say which kind of aromatic chemical contains it, or is it about like the combination I have to get?
It's actually,
It's a
I
riddle.
think you cannot guess it, and it was just just a way to kind of introduce the material, because all of these have something to do with the material
Oh,
in a
wow.
way.
Okay.
So,
Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah.
I think that you're
sometimes
just on
in a little
another
bit more
level.
abstract.
Okay.
It's a little bit abstract. You cannot find it out, I'm sure.
Okay.
But yeah. So I will reveal it now. What we are
Right.
talking about. Oh, maybe let's do like this. I brought it with me. The real thing. So the material that we're talking about, and maybe you know it after I unwrap it. It's this. Maybe someone can, or you can show it.
What is it?
That's
Like,
Do you know it? No? Have you seen
I
like this? It's a flower for sure. And maybe you can have a smell. But if you don't know,
is it the one that I mentioned quite a lot today?
yes,
It's a tuberose.
that's a tuberose. Exactly.
Oh,
And
wow.
this is what.
Where
what
did you get a tuberose from?
There's actually a Späti, like how do you call it?
We put it in the captions.
Yes, there's a Späti here in the Kollwitz-Kiez, and they sell really cool flowers, and they have tuberose. I passed by a year ago. So I'm like, wait, this looks familiar. It's
Right.
I smelled it, and
wow.
yeah, this
It's
is tuberose. Yeah,
You're so kind to bring all this. That's the standard for now. You know that, right?
I
You
know.
always have to.
I'm ready for it.
It's the first time I'm smelling a real tuberose.
That's
So we have it on
awesome.
camera. I hope is it recording? Yeah.
It
is.
Cool.
Wow.
Yeah. So maybe first. Yeah.
Wow, it's crazy because I mean I just know it from the reviews and descriptions, and all the people say, well, there are a lot of tuberose fragrance out there, but you have to make sure you smell like the real deal, because it's like very narcotic. It's in your face, and there are even this stories that in some cultures it's prohibited for women to wear this because of the because of the appeal to men. And I definitely, when I smell it, it's like I like the I know what is now meant with narcotic. It's like it's like I'm
like really,
I'm here and just me as the flower. So
yeah. No,
wow.
and
thank you so much. It's amazing.
And I have to say, it's quite tame. This one, because it was cut. I think it was cut. I bought it yesterday, so, and then it was maybe cut like a few days before.
Smell it here.
The new ones.
Smell it here. The new ones compared to these ones. It's like
this is
much
green. And You really get the tuberose aroma here for sure. 100%. That's it. Yeah. That's it. Unfortunately,
it's like it's now I can so much relate to so many fragrances where it's a
note.
It's a note.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. Well.
Describe what you're smelling. So I'm really
okay. So
interested what you can now identify.
So I think with tuberose, I think it's one of the flowers, or generally like if it's not the real deal, it's like it's a note where I could imagine for many people you either love it or hate it, because it's very polarizing. So it's not that you go, it's like, yeah, it's okay, but so either you go with it or not. At the same time, I think there are a lot of facets to it. So there is the green aspect with the little older one,
with the older ones,
with the older ones. So you have this kind of like stem appeal from when you have this kind of, also like tomato stems, for example, have this kind of like more
green and
green and yeah, and but it's like it's a very on top. And I'm not a perfumer, but I have a tough time imagining that you work in tuberose, that you only perceive it a little bit. So because I could imagine if it's in a fragrance, you definitely perceive it, because it's such a distinct smell that is
totally
hard to not stand out.
Yeah.
But apart from that, yes, it has this. Yes, it's a flower. You can tell it's a flower. It's a flower note. Definitely green aspect. It's very pungy. So it's like it has this kind of like pungy aspect, but it's like it's also you have if you're not if you don't like it, you don't smell it again. But if you somehow like it, you need you have to smell it again.
That's true.
Super interesting. Oh my god!
And I think
it's
these
like
opened today, so it's also crazy. Like I think it has to be cut maybe a week ago or something from the field, and it still opens and produces.
You're such a gem. Thank you so much for bringing it.
You're very
it
welcome.
Means a lot. It's my first tuberose. Wow.
Yeah. To be honest, for me this is the really interesting thing about like raw materials that. It may be like an abstract liquid in a bottle, or it maybe be a note on a perfume description.
Right.
But in the end, this is where it came from, or where it comes from.
Yeah.
If not the real substance, then the inspiration for a note or something. So that's why I think it's super essential to at one point smell the real thing. And
tell me. I mean, I get this. I get this.
Yes. Why do you get this?
Like because of this like the green aspect and the stem. So when I smelled like the ones that are already opened, I felt I get this kind of like stem vibe. So this vegetable like a bit bitter, but also this kind of like mineral thingy going with that. I'm most like maybe here with a little bit of imagination, I could also get it. But I'm surprised here because with agar syrup, I'm associating sweetness because it's like 70 or 80% of sugar. So I'm surprised. How does because if like so this is for me green. This is for me.
Maybe you could say medicinal.
Like
ethereal, maybe a little bit.
Myrrh? No, not myrrh, but like this kind of like, and this is gourmand basically. And I'm asking,
if you're talking about smells, for sure, yeah.
But you're talking about the agar.
It was a little bit. It was a little bit a red herring or misleading.
Right.
So they smell-wise, they don't have too much in common, except for this one. We will talk about it in a second.
Right.
But these two, they have something to do with what this what the botanical origins of this plant are. So maybe just as a quick fun fact, tuberoses were called Polyanthes tuberosa for a really long time. So Polyanthes, I think, it comes from many stars because it's looks like many stars, and tuberosa. Comes from the Latin word, I think tuber or something like this, and it basically means like a tumor or like this, like a bulb, like a like this.
All right.
And this is because it tuberose grows from like a bulb, like in German you would say it's a Zwiebel. You maybe know it from narcissus or tulips.
Yeah.
They have the same mechanism. So there are these bulbs in the ground, and then at one point they produce this spike, and this can actually become about a meter high. So this is you cannot see how high this is, but they are pretty tall if they grow. After 4 months, the plant produces this spike and creates this. And so I mentioned this, I added the potato because so former name of tuberose is Polyanthes tuberosa. The name of this thing is Solanum tuberosa. It has the same addition, basically.
Origin, even like.
Yeah, or at least the same. I think the family would be Solanum, and Polyanthes is a different thing. But the addition, the adjective that describes the plant a little bit more is in both cases tuberosa. And this makes it also obvious why, despite the name, tuberoses don't have too much in common with roses, because it doesn't come from rose. It comes from tuberose or tuberous.
Okay.
So it comes from the bulb actually where it grows from. So this is maybe just a
Oh
fun
my
fact why I
God.
added the potato.
I wish this kind of knowledge would have been shared during my school times. Super interesting.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. But this is the old name of tuberose. In 2017, actually, they reclassified tuberose under a new family of plants, and all Polyanthes family flowers or plants were moved or merged into the Agava family. So tuberose is now not a Polyanthes many star plant anymore, but it's an Agava. And the new scientific name of this plant is Agave amica, which is basically it's an agave, just like in your tequila or in.
And
in
why?
this-
Because of
in
new achievements in the scientific field, or is it?
Yeah, this is a little bit confusing to me. Also, they do some genetic analysis, and then they. To be honest, I always thought that botany. I'm not an expert. I didn't study botany or something, but I'm really interested in it, and I always thought that botany is something that is quite frozen. So somebody discovered a plant in 1785, gave it a name, and this is the name until now.
Yeah.
That's not the case at all. They rename and reclassify plants all the time, and so they did in 2017 when they saw that I think agave has a similar genetic structure, I guess, and also like similar to agave. For example, agave plant grows as like a flower one time in the lifetime, and then it's dead. And tuberose also doesn't grow forever, so it grows about 2 or 3 times, and then it's over. So,
oh really?
And in this time, it produces a lot of flowers. Basically, you can think of it as it's putting all its energy into these reproductive flowers. And
that's what I wanted to say. So like the story that I could have in my mind is that's the reason why I put so much effort also in producing this narcotic scent, because it might paint the picture of, okay, I'm here for 2 to 3 years. And that's the reason why I have to go all in.
Yeah, they go all in.
It's crazy.
They produce actually an extra.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and what the cool thing about these that I got from the Späti is that there are 2 different species. There's one Mexican, I think Mexican variant, and another one, and it's a double petaled variant, and you can maybe see it.
Yeah, here and here. So
even the petals themselves, they are multi-layered. And they are actually more intense than the other ones. So we are
more intense. Wow.
Yeah.
Where do they grow?
So originally they are from Central America,
right.
So from middle to south Mexico.
Right.
Actually, also tuberoses that we encounter today, you cannot find wild tuberoses anymore because they were cultivated by the Aztecs. So the Aztecs cultivated them quite early, and before any European could get their hands on a tuberose, it was already cultivated for quite some time and basically domesticated by humans. So this is already like a domesticated, not wild form anymore. And nowadays, it's basically grows in every warmer climate. They don't survive the winter. You have to dig them out. You have to dig the bulbs out of the floor and put them inside during the winter if you want to grow them, for example, in Berlin here. But in warmer areas, for example, France or Southern Europe, I would say in general, they grow, I think, quite nicely and cultivated for use. I think they are mostly cultivated in India. So there they don't only use it for actually, maybe you know this number, but only 10% of the yield from tuberose crop is used for perfumery. The rest is used for ornamental use, so in decorations of temples and
got it.
hair ornaments. Yeah.
So we had Luc from the Sandly Speaking community who said, who's also active in the in the perfume industry, and he said one of the earliest memories he has with regards to scent was the enfleurage at Robertet with the tuberose,
yes.
right? How to what's like
how to preserve the scent from the flowers, and actually tuberose is the perfect plant for it because it produces like, again, I'm still shocked how strong these smell even after probably days of sitting at the Späti, then me buying them, bringing them today, and they still produce a lot of scent. So
very distinct. But I think do you think there are a lot of people who smell tuberose like this who would say, I've never smelled this before? Because I think it's a scent that, I mean, I'm into that, but I mean, there are probably a lot of people who probably have smelled it from somewhere, but who don't know what's behind.
What it is, 100%. I think with many materials in the perfume world, I would say you sometimes read the name of a plant or a note. For example, I didn't know what real patchouli, not the oil or the absolute, but the actual plant. I didn't know what it smells like until I had an actual patchouli plant at home. I bought it, and it's like basically really similar to basil in its form and how it grows. And I had a patchouli plant, and rubbing the leaves, you smell patchouli, and then you know it. And I think this is for many plants the case, or for many notes the case, that people read the thing. They also maybe read some notes on how it smells like, what it brings across. You read a lot of creamy, milky, heavy, voluptuous, narcotic about tuberose. But then when you actually smell it, sometimes you're surprised, sometimes it all makes sense. I don't know. You just have to experience it. Yes. And maybe we can so maybe these are not that important anymore, but this can still stay a little bit because one ingredient in this is also part of the tuberose oil in the end. So it's methyl salicylate. And it's
so we are hopping to the next topic.
Exactly. Or you.
All right. So what was the topic?
So let's dive in a little bit into the chemical composition.
Right.
It sounds, again, first we had botany, now we have aroma chemistry, but it's, for me, it helps a lot to smell the olfactive really prominent, like the components that are really prominent olfactorically. It's a really good thing to understand what makes up the smell of tuberose, because sometimes it can feel a little bit overwhelming, and then you smell it, and somebody asks you, okay, what does it smell like? And you had already really good adjectives. You said a little bit of green, sweetness, narcotic. But
I just looked everything up on Perfumer. It's not.
But that's fine. But in the end, you're maybe tempted to say, "Oh, it smells like tuberose." Like now that I smell it, it just smells like it. And so let's maybe smell. The next thing we smell is tuberose absolute, which would be then the final product from it.
Okay.
And as you know, with flower,
so is it like in a dilution or
this is in dilution? Yes, it's in 10% dilution.
Okay. Because I
no, it's in 1%. I'm sorry, it's 1% dilution.
Okay, because the price of tuberose absolute is quite high.
Yep. Yeah. Like with every or with many natural components, especially when you have to pick flowers and you want to make an absolute from it, of course you have to pick, I don't know, I think it's 16,000 flowers or something for 1 kilo or even more. Maybe I'm even lowballing here.
Yeah.
But it's always like this with flowers, also with orange flowers. You have to collect so many, or with jasmine, so many flowers to make 1 kilo of concrete, and then you make absolute from this. It's it's insane. But this is why we have it only in 1%. But maybe give it a smell again. It should still be quite well to smell. Yeah. And give me your thoughts again.
It smells different. It has a facet to it that I couldn't get from the flower.
Mm-hmm.
So the flower was a little bit. I have to be careful about a word because it might trigger one or other perfumer. But I think the Absolute is a bit more dense in it's difficult to describe, but more compressed. How like the spectrum is not like here. I feel like the spectrum is like this, but here in the Absolute is more like a bit narrowed. The first association I got was like a very strong, also like those chai teas, like this kind of like spiciness that I get from it. Or also, when you burn with a lighter an orange peel, and when you twist the orange peel when it burns, it smells a little bit like it. But I think it has more this kinds of like it's more dense. So I think I have this kind of more. When you smell the flower, it's like more airy and more spectrum, and it feels like the Absolute is more like, okay, this is now what you need to smell.
Maybe that's because the Absolute was probably created from flowers or buds that were picked right at the top bloom. Also, Tuberose is nocturnal. So it should.
Can you explain nocturnal means?
Yeah, I mean it has its peak scent emission at night or after sunset. Sometimes maybe this seems a little bit weird why a plant should do that. It's also similar in jasmine. I have Jasminum grandiflorum, like jasmine at home.
Of course.
And it's,
I have tomato sauce at home.
I have to have it. And it smells also really intensely at night. Same goes for citrus flowers, so orange flower, bitter orange flower. They all smell really strong at night.
Yeah.
Why do they do that? Because in the place where they originate from, Mexico in this case, they emit the scent to attract pollinators. So in this case, it's a sphinx moth, I think. It's a certain kind of moth that has a long tongue that can go into these flowers. And I mean, in the end, this flower just wants to get laid, basically. So
reproduce reproduce, especially when it only lives like for 2 to 3 years, right? Exactly. So it's like
it has a few chances. It has to produce a lot of flowers, and they have to smell really, really strong. And this is why, main pollinator is this moth, and it flies at night, and this is why it smells really strongly at night.
Right.
And actually, for some agave species, there's also a bat, a kind of bat that is pollinating.
Really?
Yeah, but for tuberose, it's not the case because it's, I think,
like it
too small
and fragile. Probably when a bat goes in there, they will probably
this is why it's nocturnal. It emits the peak of the scent at night. They even pick the flowers from the plant, put it into a sack, and then they start producing even more before they process it further. And this is probably why now there's also a little bit of a difference in the intensity of the Absolute. Of course, this is the real plant. This is Absolute.
Yeah.
This is, of course, really condensed here as well. But this could be also one reason.
Nice.
But it's I mean,
do you like it? Are you a Tuberose fan?
Yeah. I mean, I love every
of course,
for its special reasons. But so if we like stay in the area of white flowers, I think I like jasmine and orange flower a little bit more.
Mhm.
I know maybe you can compare apples with pears, but I think
Yeah.
they are definitely related to each other in some core components.
Okay.
And to me, it's a really interesting flower. It's really heavy to me. It's really polarizing. On the one hand, it's sweet and floral and and fresh somehow. But in the other place, it's really like sensual and carnal and and this is I think for a perfumer, it's an interesting contrast where they can do something with it. Yeah.
Right.
So, and maybe to come back to the components. So you smelled the Absolute now. Let's smell some of the primary components in the Absolute, maybe. So,
Wow.
and you can basically say that Tuberose consists of heady esters. So, for example, where do we have? One big component is methyl benzoate. It's this one.
Mm-hmm.
And I will just give it to you, and you can tell me what you think about it. Let's see.
So all of the aroma chemicals that we got here are perceivable in the tuberose.
Yeah, I mean, of course, tuberose oil or Absolute consists of hundreds of. I think it's a quite complex smell, but these are some of the really prominent ones. So that make up the core of the scent. So maybe you can smell this one.
Okay, but just to understand, so that means they are part of tuberose, but they are aroma chemicals, so like no natural origin, and they are also used in order to build also. So they are replicates of what is basically in there, and it can be used for other accords that have nothing to do with the tuberose.
No. So in the end, sometimes I mean, yes, it's true. Sometimes I know there's a lot of controversy around it when it comes to natural perfumery, where people say, "Oh, my perfume only consists of natural materials." I'm a little bit torn because, of course, you can use, in the brown bottles, these are natural materials. The white bottles are aroma chemicals. These are combinations of different ingredients. These are single molecules. But in the end, also these contain these. That's how it is. They don't occur in nature like this.
Yeah, of course.
You won't find it like this in nature.
Right.
But like isolated.
Yeah.
But as part of a scent, of course, like aroma chemicals are like, this is a perfume, basically. This is a tuberose perfume.
Right.
That consists of many, many aroma chemicals that nature composts. So, and methyl benzoate, maybe you can say what you think about it, what it maybe contributes to.
Wow, there are a lot of thoughts I have to it. So first association is glue. Like I smell this kind of like glue thing when you went to school and you had the art class where you had to just glue something together. So either this concrete or this kind of like liquid glue and the rather, how do you say, like this rather like just this kind of glue thing.
Yeah.
Somehow I got like this hay vibe, like dry, like hay, like dried grass. This very dry. It has a very dry aspect to it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
But also it has a sweetness. 100% it has a sweetness.
Yep. I think this also. Yeah.
And the sweetness is like, it's strange because I have, like, when I smell it, I have a color in front of my eye, and that's like purple.
Wow.
It's like purple for me. It's like somehow maybe because this maybe because of this studio light is purple.
It's a purple sweetness.
Purple. No, it's a little bit like It's a dried fruit I somehow also got from it.
Mm.
Like artificial fruit vibe. I don't know which one, but it's like, yeah.
It's a
But like very far like raspberry, but the raspberry has also this kind of acidity, which I don't get from here because that's a little bit damp. So it's like dampness. It has a certain kind of like dampness, but that's what I like with my vocabulary word.
But I think that's really good because I would say to the scent profile of tuberose, this adds like sweetness and fruitiness a little bit.
Yeah.
So this is basically the role of, I would say, the role of methyl benzoate in
methyl benzoate. Yeah.
It sounds.
Yeah. So what? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just know the ethyl methyl. This kind of like this kind of in Baccarat Rouge vibe.
Also really sweet. Yeah.
But that is completely. But that's more this kind of like Zuckerwatte. What's that?
Candy floss.
Candy floss.
Candy floss.
Yeah. So that's another problem because it's more in the fruity. I think it has also. I wouldn't call it dry woods because therefore like the whole woody thing is missing, but it's more it is like a little bit, it reminds me of hay, like just like
definitely.
Yeah.
Also, to me, it also smells a little bit. There's another material called, I only know the common name now. It's called hypnon. Acetophenone.
Mm-hmm.
And acetophenone is, for example, also something that I start to smell now in this time in late March because the little blossoms of the trees are now opening.
Linden, like the linden
Not
one?
The linden blossoms. Okay. There are something else, but let's say like cherry. Like we have a lot of like fake cherry trees here in Berlin, or real cherry trees even, and to me, they emit also a really similar smell to this.
Mm-hmm.
So like a sweet floral smell. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this is
and that's in here. Yeah. Like I can relate.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
I mean, like, not in this intensity for sure.
Yeah, but it's like it's a part of it. Like I would, if you give me these two, I think I would. I'm able to say it's probably part of it. Yeah.
And let's see in the end, when we combine some of them, we can see if it's similar to the absolute. Let's see. Okay, we continue with
next one.
Ich
glaube, wir müssen ein bisschen mehr auf die Kamera schauen, damit das
sure.
usable wird.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, let's continue with the next one. So, also part of many white flowers is something called methyl anthranilate. And methyl anthranilate is...
I feel like Walter White tonight.
Hey, sometimes when people visit me, or like I have like somebody has to do something in the apartment or check the heating reader or whatever, I get weird looks sometimes when they see the bottles, and then I say, no, it's nothing illegal. It's just,
let's go to the basement.
Yeah. So there you go. This is methyl anthranilate, and also, of course, another really pure aroma chemical. Actually, if you maybe have ever tried or tasted grape soda in the US or something,
I prefer to eat grapes.
This is something completely different. So this is actually flavoring for grape flavored American candy, I would say. Yeah. This is the exact chemical they use for the flavoring. And yeah, let me know what you think.
Sparkling. Definitely has the sparkling effect, but when I think of grapes, it's also like I always have this kind of like, I mean, there are grapes and grapes. So in a winter time, when you shop for grapes in Germany, you know that most of the grapes are coming from South America or from South Africa, for example. And of course, they are not like they're just yeah. So, but when you go for like harvest time, when you in a wine region, you have those very, very fat grapes that just scream to get like also cut, and then the juice sprays out, and that's the feeling that I get. So it's a little bit like
that could be, yeah. I think
jumping in your face.
To be honest, though, I think like the grape flavoring part of it, I think they just picked methyl anthranilate and they said this is now how artificial grape tastes like.
So they prime the buyers, you mean, with like telling it with
I think so. Yeah. Like if people from the US would smell this, they would say it's grape soda or it's a grape flavored candy. If I smelled this, I had never this association because we don't have it here, and but it doesn't give me the same association. But
but I think like not maybe from eating it, but when you cut off or when you open it, this kind of like opening of it's like or maybe it's a feeling that's like that's true. But I think it also has this kind of like gluey stuff like that I got from the chemical before. To be honest, they feel like very similar to each other. That's way less sweet. It's way less sweet. I would say, and it's more chemical. So it feels like, but maybe it's just because I smelled already the fifth or sixth thing today. But it's like it's a little bit. It annoys me a little bit.
Yeah, I think it can be a little bit intense, but for example, as part of the of other white flowers, especially orange flower, this is a really, really big part of orange flower. So
is it?
Yeah.
Orange flower. So are we speaking like leaf or the absolute of like the fruit, or
either orange blossom absolute and also neroli oil if you want like this. But neroli oil is a little bit more green, I would say, and you smell the methyl anthranilate more in the orange blossom absolute, and it's also really nice smell. Yeah, but it to me it gives kind of like it makes it a little bit more full bodied. This is more like really high, a high note. I don't want to say top note because it's I don't believe we should classify it like this, but it's methyl anthranilate gives a little bit more body, I would say. And let's move on to let me check. Yes, another one, jasmine lactone.
Okay, the name says a little bit.
Don't get confused by the jasmine part. I mean, it's probably part of it, but make your own association.
I will. I will.
I really love this.
So it's the first was like the first feeling I had is like I have to suck in the air quite a lot to get something, so it's not that strong. So I had this feeling of like, it was the same with ambergris that I had like two weeks ago. It has nothing to do with ambergris, but
it's not that intense like the other ones. Yeah.
It's quite addictive, so you want to smell it like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's still interesting. So it doesn't stop to.
On its own, it's pretty complex, even though it's just a molecule.
Wow, it's a molecule. Yeah. It's. I'm the amateur, so I can say basically everything, and no one will hurt me because it's about to train my nose. It has a velvety like facet to it, so it feels like I want to cuddle in there. So it's a little bit like comforting is I think the right.
Yeah, it's really comforting.
It's Oh, that's nice.
Mhm.
That's really nice.
Some people say it's or lactones are there.
Is
also
it
other
lactone?
It's a lactone, and
Lactone family?
yep, and there are also other ones that, for example, bring a little bit like a coconut
Right.
note or
Right.
or peach.
Milky. It has this kind of like milky.
I mean, the name kind of gives it away a little bit.
Yeah,
That it
of
has
course.
like a milky facet to it, but I can really see it.
Yeah. Wow.
And
yeah.
Now, what do you think? Yeah, I mean, you already said it, but this adds to this full-bodied, milky, creamy part of the tuberose scent. Yeah. You smell it?
I think olfaction should be a class on its own in school.
Yes.
Or a part of art, like of the art a class that you have, because it's like, why is only I don't know, like drawing, for example, taught in school.
Like olfactive stuff is not in there.
Wow.
But you
100%.
There it is. It's in there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this kind of adds to. So
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's
I will go on Perfumer and check for all the fragrances that got this stuff in there.
Nice. Yeah.
I love it. But isn't it like anyway, like lactones are so I learned about it when my daughter was born, and I said, okay, I detected myself that I was smelling on her head the whole time, because it made me feel like, okay, it's like it's it's comforting. That's how my daughter smells. Then I figured out it's lactones that I got from it that also make this kind of like connections, and also that I forgot the name about the hormones that are but the hormones that are produced by mom and dad when they perceive the smell of the child, or when the child is near, so that this is
the lactones trigger this.
Exactly.
I didn't know that, but yeah, I mean, I feel it. It smells really nice.
Oh, wow.
I actually have another lactone if you want, gamma decalactone, which we can also try right after it, because it's, I'm not sure if it's part of tuberose, but I brought it with me because it could add to the scent.
It's priceless. This
it's another lactone, gamma decalactone.
But okay, that's more like,
it's more peachy, I would say.
Wow, it is peachy. I thought about a peach iced tea.
Yep.
When I smelled it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also really nice. Yeah.
Isn't it like lactones and peach is for me osmanthus?
For sure. I mean, I know that osmanthus is also used for complex peach notes. So
that's like,
yeah, I would have to look at the composition if there are lactones in it, but most likely could totally be.
Yeah. So just from paper, it said like I think tea, lactones, and peach, like in the, but so I think it's but it's less subtle, so it's more like very prominent, and here I'm the peach, like, look, I'm the peach on the table, look at me. It's I want to be in the foreground.
Yep. It's not that subtle,
but I think it could, like, again, like probably every vocabulary that I use is wrong, but could work as a bridge, probably, to build between like a flower fruity thing. So it's because it has both facets to it, so it feels like could combine these.
If you would build like an accord, you could use it definitely to smooth things out. It's really intense, so
it is
not much, but maybe just a little bit could.
And help me about like these aroma chemicals, are they all equally priced, or can you also say that there are some aroma chemicals that are like super expensive?
Yeah. So some of them are super cheap. Sometimes they are a side product of another production. So And some of them are even produced in such amounts that it's like vanillin. It's also an aroma chemical, but it's so prominent today, and a lot of it is produced.
Right.
But then there are also more like niche ones. For example, I would say certain musks that are not particularly present in nature and that have to be created by a more complex production process with multiple stages. I think this could be a little bit more expensive.
Okay.
But yeah, it's really fluctuating. I think there are also aroma chemicals that get close to the prices of your naturals. For example, like a jasmine lactone, I think it's quite expensive actually. So
that's the reason why. Okay.
Yeah, I don't have a lot.
Okay. Thanks for sharing.
No, sure.
Cool.
So, and let's complete the picture a little bit. So
right.
Maybe we can already smell it. Maybe you in combination.
Right.
Maybe we can combine it. So it should be. Yeah, I mean, we can also put it into this. I don't know. Sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. Not really necessary. But yeah.
Yeah. Now everything makes sense.
Yeah. You have the sweetness from the methyl benzoate. You have
right. Yeah. Right. It gets
closer.
Quite close to it.
Yeah. So, and
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Everyone should. We should do affiliate. So to tell your Spätkauf to ship this.
Totally. I will make a deal.
Listening.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah. And
still, I'm lacking a little bit this stemmy
green
vegetable green thingy from what you showed me.
Let me check if we can add something that
like the sweetness. It's and more about the sweetness, which is not which I don't get really from the freshly cut flower.
So let's add another component, which is I think there's not a lot of it in there, but this is indole, and people it has a reputation.
Explain it.
This is 1% indole, or in 1% in 99% alcohol. And I also lock it away in a airtight box because it's leaking some, or it could. You can definitely smell it.
I have a question to it. So I learned that indolic is this kind of like animalic note that has this harsh smell. But I thought that indolic is more this kind of like this description for. I didn't reckon it as like just one molecule. One molecule, is it? Is it one?
This is indole. That's
indole. Okay, indole is indole.
Yeah.
Okay, so when someone says, "Okay, I get this indolic note," it's indole.
It's this.
Oh wow! Okay, I didn't know.
Or at least they are describing what indole does to a scent.
Okay, good. So now you say it's getting tough.
Yes. So it's a quite intense smell. When I first bought it, I read a lot of things about it, and I was scared to smell it. I opened it. I was, a little bit overwhelmed. But over time, I kind of learned to appreciate it. I read a lot of horrible things, that it smells like feces and that it smells like decaying matter. But then something changed my mind a little bit, and it was the bitter orange trees in Valencia. I was there in 2020, right before the pandemic, and for a business trip. And in Valencia, you have a lot of bitter orange trees all around the city. And in March, they are in full bloom, or I think they are blooming the whole year in Valencia. But I was particularly lucky to smell a lot of them, and I was so surprised that smelling the actual orange flower, the bitter orange flower, that I could smell so much indole in it. So it was it was so prominent in the flower right from the bud, or from the even if you take a bud and you rub it between your fingers, it smells super indolic. And then I came to the conclusion, it's just also a part of nature. It's a really natural. It's intense, but it appears in a really sometimes really concentrated form in nature as well. And one of its role is actually attracting insects again. So insects like indole, and so plants produce it. That's that's how it is.
Has a function in nature. Thanks. Didn't know that. So I already smelled quite some fragrances where indolic notes indolic notes are perceivable, and often it was described, okay, it's not a fragrance for a starter, but it's more for people who have already quite some experience. So I felt the more I also dig into niche fragrances, niche fragrance, the more indolic notes are used. So for example, there's one I think it's a brand called Manu. I've seen them at the Sons, and what they focused on were also scents that you perceive from the human body, and there was also the connection to some indolic notes, as at least the association. And I think that's not a fragrance for someone who's shopping at the typical department stores. But I think, like, for me, the thing I got in mind when thinking about indolic is something that you probably perceive when you go down the rabbit hole in fragrances, because it's probably something that feels uncomfortable to you when you just start looking out for fragrances, but you have to learn to appreciate it. It's probably similar to certain wines or certain, I don't know, other enjoyable things.
Or coffee. As a kid, you don't like coffee, or but then you later learn to appreciate its weird taste. So it's maybe I would compare it to this. This is maybe why it's recommended to more experienced buyers. Because I mean, like,
give it to me. Is it in here?
I think it has a sure. And it's part
and
of this,
it's a big part in jasmine. I've read about the study also, like how the indole concentration in jasmine behaves, because then they did an A/B test of jasmine sambac and jasmine grandiflorum at night and at day, and they figured
is really indolic.
And they figured out that there is no real shift or no major difference between day and night. So they said, like, in jasmine sambac it's more concentrated or more present, but it's not like it's perceived wrong that it's more during the night than during the day. So therefore they also adjusted their picking preferences or their picking style to not anymore do it at night. Maybe I'm completely sidetracked and talk about something else, but I think it was in this direction.
Be careful. Don't take a super deep breath, but give it a little bit. I actually kind of like it now. I don't know. It reminds me of Thailand, to be honest, because they have a lot of white flowers there, and
it's not unpleasant, but you have to play it very well. It makes me super curious when I smell it. It's like it's something where, I don't know, you have this kind of like curtain that allows some visuals to gain through, and then you maybe have a person there, and you ask yourself, okay, is this person nice or not so nice, and you paint a picture in your mind, but you want to look behind this curtain. And that's the association I think it's like in itself it's not amazing, but it's like
interesting.
It's interesting,
And this is what they say when they say it has a carnal, like tuberose is a carnal element to it, or like a sensual element. I think indole can definitely add some to it. So people also say that it's animalic. I'm not sure if I agree with it because I've smelled too many orange flowers and now I'm associating it with orange flowers a lot, or with other flowers that produce it in a large quantity.
That's also the question. If you smell the aroma chemical, in which relation you put it. So if you're mainly, or like, I mean, the perfumer plays along the spectrum of olfactive families, but if you are more torn into the white flower family or generally flower family, then probably you associate it with
I mean, but I see why people also attribute like a kind of animalic taste to it. So, and now I think you have to combine it because this won't.
I think it's in the fragrance that I just gave you the
could totally be. So if you use it with the others,
it tames.
You maybe see how it's. This is now insane to me. How it blends in, and it's not that. And it's a huge difference having it with and having it not in there.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep. It makes it. I think this makes like any like simple accord for white flower really realistic. At least I think so. Like it,
but you need to know the chemical composition of the absolute, of the flower, generally to build the accord.
Sure. Yeah. Or you have a really good nose and you can construct it. I think many perfumers are definitely able to do it to just pick.
And I think that's the beauty with accords. That's just what, at least I just taught myself. So when you do an accord, you can also say, I leave certain aroma chemicals out because I don't love this part about it. So that means that you can do a vanilla accord without the sweetness, for example, because you rather want to have the green aspect of the or like the dry green aspect of a vanilla.
Or transparent aspect of vanilla. I love the transparency of real vanilla. And if you create an accord, you can leave stuff out. You can leave maybe a little bit of vanillin out. that makes up a huge part of the sweet component of vanilla. Absolutely. But and here you can.
We're just waiting for Osmo. That does the fragrance teleportation.
Yeah, but it's you could now boost certain elements of it. You can also do this with the absolute. If you just add on top of an absolute a little bit more indole, we can try it. We'll take the absolute, take a little bit indole.
What I'm asking myself right now,
and it gets
so there is a tuberose, and there is the tuberose absolute, which is from, I don't know if that's per se the definition, but the absolute is shrinking the spectrum that I perceive in my nostril a little bit. Like what I got from here is like more this airy component. So that means like when you really want to have, I mean, you never get a 1-to-1%, a one by one representation of what I'm smelling here. But isn't it that if you really want to get the real stuff, you can get the absolute and have to build with some aroma chemicals also around it to get closer to original?
That's it. I mean, in some production processes, you also lose some of the volatile,
organic compounds.
And so they just get lost during the process. Nowadays, where they invent more methods to extract scents from these plants, it gets better, but still in an absolute, you have of course 100% lost some of the stuff that was previously in there, and then, but if you're building a scent, you can re-add it after the fact, and this is also what a producer sometimes does. If it should be really a photorealistic representation of the original plant, you can add stuff. For example, for jasmine, you would add maybe a little bit of. I also have it here with me. Benzo acid. Where is it? I don't know, but maybe I didn't bring it. But benzoacetate, for example, you can add it, or you can add hedione to jasmine, jasmine oil or absolute, and then you make it more realistic again because you add the things that were in there anyways. Yeah.
What do you have next?
Okay, so maybe an additional component of the tuberose scent is eucalyptol, which you know from eucalyptus. I don't have eucalyptol, unfortunately, but I have eucalyptus oil. And
this is an essential oil, or
it's an essential oil, yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, eucalyptus is really high in eucalyptol.
Okay, so that's the main component, eucalyptol.
In eucalyptus, I think yes, or at least as there's a lot of it in there, and we can use it. Maybe just smell it, and I mean, it should be a pretty familiar scent, probably to you. Everybody.
There is this, what I always put on the chest of my children.
Tiger balm, or
no, this kind of like Vic Vaporub. This kind of like
menthol and
methyl. Yeah, to widen your nostrils.
Yeah, and it has this effect similar to.
Yeah, it's so very straightforward. It's like
ethereal.
It's cool. It's definitely very cooling.
Yep.
Like everyone has smelled it. So it's airwaves chewing gums.
Exactly. It's really hard to unbias yourself from the sense you already know it from.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's fresh. It's ethereal. It's a little bit medicinal.
Right?
Yeah, and cooling for sure.
Cool. Yeah.
Not as much as menthol, maybe, but it's still cooling.
But there is.
I'm getting dizzy a little bit from smelling too much.
There is.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm surprised now what you're smelling now, because I also smell something on top of like just the camphorous ethereal smell. Maybe.
It's difficult to describe, but there is something on top of what I got when I eat the chewing gums or chew on the chewing gums. It also has this kind of like not like a little bit indolic. Maybe this is put now on my nose, but it has this kind of like, it's a little bit. I don't want to say, but it smells. It smells. You have stepped into poo a little bit. A little bit
stinky.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. So I sometimes you can get the plant that this is originating from, basically at every corner here in Berlin.
What is it?
Eucalyptus. And you can get eucalyptus at every corner because it's used in basically every single bouquet of flowers. I think you always see different variants. I think there's a globulus, but you have, it looks like this. There's one that looks like this and it looks like a little tower. And if you smell it, I also smell like it's a little bit stinky to me also. It's fresh, it's a little stinky, and it's also a little bit like, I always have like this association of like something, like, when you make not chewing gum, but like candy, hard candy, and you have this sugar mass that you're working with.
Yeah.
And to me, sometimes it smells also
like
the sticky sugar.
Which are like in the good old times when you had this kind of manufactory where the man is producing it in front of the audience, and then they are like cutting it. Yeah.
And this sometimes,
but it's not like the sweetness you get from it. It's more this kind of like artificial fruity kind of wrap flavor from it.
But now,
like the longer it lasts, it goes more into the direction. It loses the
camphorous thing is gone now.
It's completely gone.
Yeah. Now you have like linalool, I think, left. I can bring this the next time.
It's something. It
nice
feels
now.
it feels like this harshness is gone. This freshness.
Yeah.
No, it's not like fresh. It's this coolness is gone.
Yeah.
And now it feels like a complete different chemical or component.
Even a bit woody, maybe something like this.
Even that.
So it's really nice. It's
so
really nice. Like
if I imagine I'm now a perfumer, so I have to keep that in mind that this effect comes, right?
Exactly. It's not very long lived. Yeah. and you can build.
That's interesting.
You can build your scent around eucalyptus, and then you notice after smelling your first try. So, okay, I smell it, but only for the first 2 minutes, and then. Then you have to.
But if you want to rather have this kind of, let's call it like hard note, you could try to ease the coolness out from the top, and then like rather work the hard note in it.
Yeah. If you want to boost this, probably add a little bit more. I'm guessing now, but maybe linalool or some other like materials that you that are really like smell definitely something like this, and you can re-edit then and smooth it out. Or if you want to extend the freshness, you could add aroma chemicals that add this, like maybe camphor even, or you can add eucalyptol, the pure aroma chemical.
This is more comforting, definitely.
Now, yeah.
Yeah.
But the part that is in tuberose is the eucalyptol. So what we smelled in the beginning.
Oh, okay.
So if we do it again, maybe I can. If you want another dip, I can.
I'm good. Okay. I trust you because I didn't like it. Okay, but this now is not.
All right. So and now let's maybe try one final component, which is I'm actually not too sure if it's in the actual or absolute, but it's definitely makes sense to smell it also, which is methyl isoeugenol. And methyl isoeugenol is eugenol. Maybe you have heard it. Eugenol? No? Tell me what it reminds you of.
Reminds me of an aroma chemical that we had at the very beginning. Forgot the name.
You mean that you're smelling glue again?
Yeah. Glue. Mainly glue. So there is like what I get from it is like very
chemical.
Very chemical. Yeah. Nothing pleasant about it. Like I tried to get like pleasant aspects of it, but that's the least pleasant.
So maybe I will point you into a direction. So eugenol is a really, really big part of clove oil. And methyl isoeugenol, it's not that strong as clove, but maybe you can feel it somewhere. It has a clove.
Yes. When you yeah, like the thing when you eat rice and you bite on it. Is it like that's the this bitterness that you get from it?
To me also it smells like macchia. Like
what is macchia?
So in Mediterranean countries, the shrubs and the plants that are growing close to the sea or on the countryside. So the combination of really different herbs and shrubs and so on. To me, sometimes it smells like this, or it has this vibe to it. I don't know. To me, I don't. It's but it's nevertheless it's also a big part of plants in general, I think. So if you combine it,
now
it
it's
maybe
gone.
adds like a spiciness.
Now it's gone
Yeah.
a little bit.
I think also we are entering now a territory where, or a time where many or some of these aroma chemicals have already reached their end of life cycle, basically. So you won't smell them too much anymore, and some others will be stronger. But yeah, it's definitely also a part of it. So this is a spice. This adds a little bit of spicy, a spicy component. Spicy in the sense of not sharp, but more like of spices,
right?
So like clove, for example. And yeah, in combination with these other materials, you should get like somewhat
tuberose thing.
Somewhat tuberose thing. Of course, you don't reach the complexity of the real thing because it contains many more aroma chemicals. But yeah, at least yeah. So
I'm flattered.
cool.
It's amazing. Maybe for are we done for the tuberose? Because then you could maybe do again a summary of like what is all in there, or
we can do it. I just want to show you one last thing. So
yes, please.
There is one perfume. So now we have smelled the individual components of tuberose, but now I thought it would be interesting to also smell how it could work with other materials, maybe. And one really good example is how it is used in basically one of the first scents that it was used in prominently, which is Fracas by Piguet. It was published in 1948, and
you have the original formula with you.
Unfortunately, I don't, and I also don't even have the scent with me. But we can combine some things to at least get a glimpse of it. Yeah, and we would need for this. Let me just check real quick. A little. Yeah.
You already said so. The smell gets.
It increased in intensity over the evening, I would say. Yeah, and maybe just to summarize it a little bit, what we have experienced today. So again, tuberose, part of the agave family, agave amica, so the friend, basically. Yeah, it's a really polarizing flower. You have sweetness, you have voluptuousness. It's narcotic, it's sensual, but also it's really like light in some cases. And we've smelled all the materials. What's your let's say final verdict on tuberose? You like it, or
I think I think one needs to distinguish between, do I like it somehow as a component of a fragrance, or do I like it on its own? Because there's so many. I always hate when people say I don't like flowers in the perfume, because then I always think, okay, then you just don't know how like the people work the actual flowers. When I smell it, it's not that I like immediately fell in love with that, but it makes me want to smell it again and again and again. And I think the beauty of the tuberose with regards to perfume is that because it has such a broad profile, is that you can probably work it quite a lot, but at the same time it's always very distinct. So if you decide you work to get, so that's like me as an amateur thinking about it, if you decide you work at tuberose, people probably will notice it for sure. And if there are people who say, well, I don't like a tuberose, it could make them like, it could be like an automatic response to say, I detect tuberose in the fragrance, and therefore I don't like it because it's a trained behavior. So sometimes I have it. So for example, with coconuts. So there is Walk With Me. I was completely blown away when I read it, or I smelled it before. I was like, I don't like coconut. I don't want to have any coconut fragrance. But when you like, you need to be open. So that's I think the danger you have with tuberose, that people close themselves.
Yeah.
But generally, I think it's interesting. So if I need to go for the net promoter score, I would say it's a 7. It's a 7 out of 10 for me. So I like it. I think it's very interesting. I think it has its beauty if it's very nice played, but on its own, like a very dominant tuberose fragrance, I think it's not my style. On the other hand, all the time when I smell specific fragrance notes or styles, I always envision people or colors. So when I smell a tuberose, I have a very I have a specific mind of people in mind. And even though I might not be the biggest fan of it, I could definitely see a person on whom it fits quite well. So tuberose for me is a fragrance. If you take it on its own, it's probably very relevant for people with a lot of self-esteem that want to be put into the center of attention, which tuberose is. So tuberose wants to be in the spotlight, I feel.
Yeah, definitely. If you put it on in a ways next to your bed, it will,
or next to our seat.
So it can make you feel dizzy because it's so intense. So it has a really intense smell and it's really present. And I agree. It probably fits well to people who are a little bit more outgoing, or because the plant itself is really literally outgoing. It expels its scent into the air from, I don't know how many flowers are on this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like many flowers on one stem.
Yeah.
So
crazy.
But like you said, it's all a matter of how you work it into a fragrance, which part it plays into a fragrance. I also have to say that I think tuberose, as just a side note, don't know if I know any perfume where this is done.
Yeah.
Usually it plays a little bit a bigger role. But then if you make it more fresh, or if you make it more green, or if you make it more sensual, or if you make it more floral, this is totally up to the perfumer and to the perfume in the end. And you can take it into a lot of directions, I would say.
Right.
It's really versatile. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's it. I have. Yeah. I hope you. It finds a place in your heart still.
100%. I learned so much tonight that I didn't learn before. So thanks for the effort. Was a pleasure. Maybe just quickly to summarize, like, what are the aromatic chemicals or like the other notes that we have found tonight in the tuberose? Can you summarize it again?
Yes. So for like the sweet, fruity, slightly floral part, we have methyl benzoate. You remember it was a little bit like glue at the beginning, but then you could really see some like sweetness in it. And this is a big part. Then we have I don't know, I don't have it on the table here yet here today, but we usually have also a little bit of methyl salicylate. Methyl salicylate is in mouthwash or in toothpaste. Next time you use mouthwash, look at the ingredient list. You will find methyl salicylate. This is also part of tuberose.
Right.
We have methyl anthranilate, part of other white flowers, especially orange flower. Gives it a little bit body. There's also benzoate in tuberose, which is a little bit more almondy and balsamic, but it's not. I don't have it with me today, unfortunately. And the beloved jasmine lactone that we smelled.
Yeah.
So also some lactones we smell today can be found in the scent profile of Tuberose. If you remember, it added this milky, like
baby head.
Yeah, baby head vibe. And and finally indole. So indole as the like mysterious note. I think it adds in the end like a real depth to the scent, in my opinion.
It does.
It makes it a lot more realistic if you add indole to an accord like this.
Yeah.
And I love it. Other people hate it, say that it smells like feces. I don't see that. You should smell on more real orange flowers, and then it will maybe change your mind. So
okay.
yeah, that's in here. Nature produces it just from air and water and soil. So it's a miracle.
Yeah. Amazing. Thanks for taking the time. See you next time, Aron.
Yes.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much.